What if the reason your body feels stiff has nothing to do with age and everything to do with the movements you're not doing? Most people sit for hours, feel their hips lock up and their joints tighten, and figure that's just what happens as you get older. But there's 4 movements that force your body to own new ranges under tension. And the reason most people skip these is exactly why they start feeling 50 at 35. The 90-90 hip switch fixes something most people don't even realize is broken. Your hips are supposed to rotate freely in both directions. Internal rotation, external rotation, smooth and controlled. And if you can't get into a deep squat comfortably, that's not normal. That's a sign your hips have lost the rotation they need. When you sit most of the day, that rotation disappears. Your hip flexors shorten, your glutes stop firing, and your body compensates by twisting through your lower back instead. That's why your knees cave inward when you walk upstairs, and why your lower back aches after standing for 20 minutes. Your hips can't do their job, so everything else pays the price. This movement forces your hips to rotate in both directions while your body is grounded and stable. And it does something passive stretching never can. It teaches your muscles to control that range. You're not just reaching a position and holding it, you're moving through it with tension, which is what tells your nervous system this new range is safe to use. By the way, rotation is crucial, but there's a side-to-side movement pattern that barely gets used as you get older. And the next exercise not only opens that range back up, it builds strength through it at the same time. But first, let me show you how to properly do this 90-90 movement. You sit on the ground with both knees bent at 90 degrees. Your front leg is in external rotation, knee out to the side, shin parallel to your body. Your back leg is in internal rotation, knee bent, foot behind you. Both hips stay on the ground. Now you switch. Lift your knees, rotate your hips, and land in the opposite position. Front leg becomes back leg becomes front leg. Smooth, controlled, no yanking yourself into place. The first time you try this, one direction will feel easy and the other will feel like your hip is locked in concrete. That asymmetry is the problem. Your body has lost the ability to rotate evenly, so it compensates elsewhere. Every time you switch, you're teaching your hips to move the way they're designed to, and the more you do it, the less your lower back has to twist to make up for what your hips can't do. This isn't a stretch you hold for 30 seconds and forget. This is a movement you repeat, 10 switches per side, slow and controlled. Now let's get into that side-to-side movement I hinted at. If your hips can't shift laterally, your knees pay the price. Every time you step to the side, change direction, or try to sit into a deep squat, your body has to find range somewhere. And if your hips won't give it, your knees twist to compensate. That's how people end up with knee pain that seems to come out of nowhere. The Cossack squat opens up lateral hip mobility, stretches your adductors under load, and forces your ankles to dorsiflex in a way a lot of people haven't done since they were in high school. It's one movement that hits 3 mobility limitations at once, and it's uncomfortable in the best way. You stand with your feet wide, wider than shoulder width, toes pointing slightly out. Now shift your weight to one side and sit your hips back into a deep squat on that leg. Your other leg stays straight, foot flat on the ground if possible, heel down. Your weight is in the heel of the working leg. Your chest stays upright. You pause at the bottom, then push back up and shift to the other side. The first rep will tell you everything. One side will feel somewhat manageable. The other side will feel like your hip, ankle, and adductor are all refusing to cooperate. That's the side that needs the work. That's the side that's been compensating for years, and your body has learned to avoid it entirely. As you sink into the bottom position, your hip is opening in a range it's probably never loaded before. Your adductors, the muscles on the inside of your thigh, are stretching, but they're also working to stabilize you, and your ankle has to dorsiflex to keep your heel down and your knee tracking forward. All 3 of those things are working together, which is why this movement builds mobility that actually transfers to real life. Do 6 to 8 reps per side. Move slowly. If your heel lifts or your torso falls forward, you've gone too deep. Back it off and own the range you have before pushing further. Your hips and ankles will adapt fast if you stay consistent, but if you force it too soon, your body will just compensate somewhere else. Now, these movements are powerful on their own. If you do nothing but add these 4 to your routine, you'll notice a difference. But they're also just a piece of a much bigger puzzle. Most programs ignore exercises like these entirely. They focus on strength and muscle, but they skip the movements that actually keep your body moving well as you age and prevent injury. That's exactly why I created the Reset Your Body Blueprint. It's loaded with movements like what you're seeing here: dynamic mobility work, loaded stretching, stability patterns, the overlooked stuff that keeps your joints healthy and your body feeling decades younger than it should. It's an organized guide that tells you exactly what to do to get your body feeling the way you want it to. If you're realizing your body needs more of this kind of work, Check the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. Alright, let's get into our third movement that feels amazing to do. Your ankles are probably stiffer than you think, and that stiffness is killing your squat depth, your knee health, and your ability to get up off the floor without using your hands. Most people can't sit into a full deep squat with their heels down and their torso upright. Not because their legs are weak, because their ankles won't dorsiflex and their thoracic spine won't rotate. The deep squat hold with reaches fixes both. It forces your ankles to open up while you're under load, and it teaches your mid-back to rotate without your lower back taking over. Two mobility restrictions that show up in almost every movement you do. You squat down as deep as you can go. Feet shoulder width apart or slightly wider. Heels stay down. If your heels lift, your ankles are too stiff. Put a small plate or book under them to start. Your elbows press against the inside of your knees to keep them tracking outward. Now you reach one arm up and rotate your torso toward that side. Your eyes follow your hand. You're rotating through your mid-back, not twisting through your lower back. Hold the deep squat position and alternate reaches. 5 reaches per side, and pay attention to how your body responds. If you feel the rotation happening in your lower back instead of your mid-back, you're compensating. Reset and try again with less range. The deep squat itself is a mobility test. If you can sit in it with your heels down, chest up, and knees out, your hips, ankles, and spine are all working together. If you can't, something is restricted, and the longer you avoid that position, the stiffer those joints get. The reaches add rotation on top of that, which is exactly what your thoracic spine needs to stay mobile as you age. This position is uncomfortable. Your ankles will burn. Your hips will feel tight. But if you sit in it for 30 seconds to a minute and move through the reaches, your body starts to remember what deep ranges feel like. And once your nervous system realizes this position is safe, it stops fighting you every time you try to get there. Before we talk about the fourth exercise, I think you'd be interested in my free weekly newsletter since you made it this far into the video. It's where I send out weekly emails with useful fitness tips and strategies. If you want to be a part of the group, the link is in the description below. So, your hamstrings are tight. Everyone's hamstrings are tight, but the reason they're tight isn't because you need to stretch them more. It's because you've trained your body to flex forward from your lower back instead of hinging from your hips. Every time you bend over to pick something up, tie your shoes, or reach for something on the ground, your spine rounds and your hamstrings stay short. They never learn to lengthen under control. The seated good morning teaches your body to hinge properly while your hamstrings are under tension. And it does it in a way that protects your lower back instead of loading it recklessly. You sit on the ground with your legs straight out in front of you, feet flexed, toes pointing up. Your hands rest on your thighs or reach forward slightly. Now hinge forward from your hips, not by rounding your spine, by pushing your chest forward and letting your hips fold. You should feel a deep stretch in your hamstrings, not a pull in your lower back. This is where most people realize they've been stretching their hamstrings wrong for years. They've been rounding their spine to reach their toes instead of hinging from the hips, and that's why the tightness never goes away. The seated good morning forces you to hinge correctly, which is the only way to actually lengthen your hamstrings and teach your body to use that range. Go slow. Hinge forward as far as you can while keeping your back flat. Hold for a few seconds, then come back up. Repeat for 8 to 10 reps. And if you can only hinge forward a few inches before your back starts to round, that's fine. That's your starting point. Every rep you do is teaching your body that this hinge pattern is safe. And the more you practice it, the more your hamstrings will release and your hinge will deepen. And if you want the full system that makes all of this work even better, check out that Reset Your Body blueprint in the description.